Every morning, without fail, the sun would creep through the gap in the curtains of our small house, painting the room in a soft golden light. It was a gentle awakening, a quiet start to the day. I'd always get up before dawn, the house still and silent. I'd make myself a cup of black coffee, the steam rising in the cool morning air, and sit at the kitchen table, just kind of lost in thought, gathering myself for the day ahead. My son Lucas, well, he always slept in, a teenager's privilege. He'd be sprawled out in his bed, one arm dangling off the side, his sneakers waiting patiently by the bedroom door, ready for the day he wasn't quite ready for. Our routine was, simple, unhurried. It was the kind of rhythm that builds a life around. I'd drive Lucas to school each morning. Sometimes, lost in my own thoughts, I'd just find myself humming to myself, a tuneless melody filling the car. Other times, I'd just be watching the road, the world unfolding in front of us, and the silence between us felt easy, comfortable, a shared space of understanding. It was a silence that spoke volumes. After school, Lucas would come home, toss his backpack carelessly on the couch, and more often than not, he'd join me out back. Some days when the weather was good, we'd toss a baseball back and forth, the familiar thwack of the ball in our gloves a comforting sound. Other days we'd just sit out there on the porch, Lucas talking about his day, the triumphs and the frustrations, and me mostly listening, offering a nod or a word of encouragement when needed. Our world was small, contained within the walls of our home, framed by simple evening meals and the steady rhythmic ticking of the old kitchen clock, a constant reminder of the passage of time. I loved my son fiercely with a protective instinct that ran deep. He was my world. I saw in Lucas a gentle soul, a quiet curiosity that I hoped would lead him to great things, a spark of something special. And, well, Lucas admired my calm demeanor, I guess, and my hands that could fix just about anything. The practical skills I'd honed over the years, a leaky faucet that dripped incessantly, a rusty bike that needed new tires, and a little love, even hopefully a broken heart when that inevitable day came. We understood each other in that way fathers and sons sometimes do, a bond forged over time, a shared history. It wasn't so much through grand pronouncements or heartfelt declarations, but through those small everyday acts of caring, the unspoken language of family. Yet beneath it all, beneath the surface of our quiet life, I'd sometimes worry, a nagging feeling in the back of my mind. I wondered if I was giving Lucas enough, if I was doing right by him, if he really felt my love, truly understood how much he meant to me. In these ordinary days, in the simple rhythm of our lives, love was as much about just being there, a constant presence, as it was about saying it, maybe even more so. It was a love that needed no explanation. It was autumn, the air crisp and cool, when Lucas found his dream taking root. The leaves were turning, painting the world in shades of red and gold, a perfect backdrop for a new beginning. The school announced tryouts for the baseball team. A simple flyer posted amongst the usual school notices. It was a small piece of paper, but it held a universe of possibilities for Lucas. And Lucas, well, he'd always loved the game. Ever since he was a little boy, he knew the stats, the players, the history. Baseball was more than just a sport to him, it was a passion, but he'd never played on a real team before. He'd always watched from the sidelines, a silent observer of a world he longed to be a part of. The thought of actually trying out was both exhilarating and terrifying. His heart jumped at the idea, a flutter of excitement mixed with a healthy dose of nerves. This was it, a chance to step out of the shadows and into the light, even though doubt tried to keep him grounded, whispering insidious little thoughts of inadequacy and failure. What if he wasn't good enough? What if he embarrassed himself? At dinner, he told me, his voice barely above a whisper. "Dad, I want to try out for the team," he managed to say, his eyes fixed on his plate. He said, kind of quietly, pushing peas around his plate, avoiding eye contact, unsure of what my reaction would be. I looked up, a bit surprised at first, caught off guard by his sudden declaration. But then I just smiled, a genuine smile of pride and encouragement. "You should," I told him, meeting his gaze with warmth and sincerity. "You never know unless you try." It's a simple truth, but one that can change everything. Lucas felt a warmth in his chest. I could see it in his eyes, a flicker of hope igniting within him. He knew trying out wouldn't be easy. It would require dedication, perseverance, and a whole lot of hard work. The other boys, they were bigger, more experienced, seemingly more confident, stronger, their muscles honed from years of training and competition. Some had been playing for years, practically born with a baseball glove in their hands, but my simple faith in him gave Lucas courage, a quiet reassurance that he was capable of more than he thought. That night he lay awake, his mind racing with possibilities and anxieties, picturing himself running across the field, the wind in his hair, the roar of the crowd in his ears, glove in hand, ready to catch anything that came his way, and me cheering from the stands, his biggest supporter, no matter what happened. The next morning Lucas woke up early, a sense of purpose driving him out of bed. He told himself, looking in the mirror, "I'll do my best, that's all that matters." I packed him an extra apple, a little something to keep his energy up, just in case the day ran long, knowing tryouts could be grueling. As he headed out the door, I squeezed his shoulder, a silent gesture of love and support. "I'm proud of you already," I said softly, meaning every word. Tryout started with a biting cold wind that seemed to cut right through you, and nervous laughter filled the air. You could feel the tension, a mix of excitement and apprehension, hanging heavy. Lucas stood there with the other boys, looking a bit small, almost swallowed up in that oversized cap. It was his older brother's, a hand-me-down that symbolized a dream he was still growing into. The coach, a booming voice in a worn-out baseball cap, shouted out instructions, his words echoing across the field. He was laying down the ground rules, setting expectations high. Bats cracked with a satisfying thwack, and balls flew soaring through the air like little white missiles. Each hit was a burst of hope, a testament to the potential within each swing. Lucas tried his best, putting every ounce of effort into each movement, each throw, each swing. He was determined to prove himself, to show that he belonged there, but his throws wobbled, veering off course like they had a mind of their own, lacking the crisp precision he so desperately wanted. And once, under the watchful eyes of everyone, he dropped an easy catch. The ball slipped right through his glove, a moment of humiliation that seemed to stretch on forever. His cheeks turned red with embarrassment, a flush of shame creeping up his neck as he fought back the urge to disappear. Each day Lucas came home quieter than usual, his steps heavy with disappointment. The weight of the tryouts seemed to be pressing down on him. I noticed, of course, a father always notices the subtle shifts in his child's demeanor. Over greasy cheeseburgers, a simple comfort food, I asked, "How's it going?" trying to sound casual, but my concern was evident even to me. Lucas just shrugged, his shoulders slumping slightly, and said, "I'm not sure I'm good enough." The words hung in the air, heavy with doubt and insecurity. I listened, really listened, kept my eyes steady on him, offering a silent reassurance that I was there for him no matter what. "You don't have to be the best," I told him gently. "You just have to give your best. That's all anyone can ask of you, and that's all that truly matters." Despite his doubts, Lucas practiced in the backyard every evening, driven by a stubborn refusal to give up on his dream. I'd watch from the porch, a silent observer, offering my support from a distance, only offering tips when he asked, careful not to interfere too much, wanting him to find his own way. Sometimes he'd get frustrated, the pressure building until it finally erupted, hurling his glove into the grass in a fit of anger, a visible manifestation of his inner turmoil. I'd pick it up, dust it off, hand it back, a silent gesture of understanding and encouragement, and just sit beside him until the anger faded, offering a comforting presence, a safe space for him to process his emotions. Doubt lingered, a persistent shadow lurking in the corners of his mind. Lucas saw how skilled the other boys were, their natural talent seemingly effortless, and felt small, inadequate in comparison. But my presence, silent and steady, a constant source of support, kept him from giving up, from succumbing to the overwhelming feeling that he wasn't good enough. Even on the toughest days when the frustration was almost unbearable, my faith in him, unwavering and unconditional, gave Lucas a reason to try again, a glimmer of hope in the face of adversity. One afternoon, Lucas came home with his shoulders slumped. He'd missed an important catch at practice. The coach had frowned, and the other boys, well, they snickered. Lucas ran straight to his room and shut the door. I knocked softly, but didn't go in. I knew sometimes boys need space to just feel sad. Later, I found Lucas sitting on the porch steps, staring at the dusk. "It's hard," he whispered. I nodded and sat down beside him. "The hardest things are worth fighting for," I said. "I've made mistakes too. You just get up and keep going." Lucas bit his lip, blinking away tears. "What if I let you down?" he asked, his voice trembling. My answer was simple. You could never let me down, not ever. I put my arm around his shoulders, holding him close. That night, Lucas slept with his baseball glove beside him. In the quiet darkness, I checked on him, smoothing back his hair. The setbacks stung, but together we faced them, drawing strength from each other. Days grew colder. Lucas practiced before school, swinging his bat in the early morning mist. After classes, he ran laps, working to build speed. Ben woke early, making hot cocoa and warming Lucas's glove in the dryer. He stood by the field after work, watching Lucas run drills, cheering quietly. Some nights, Lucas's hands were raw from catching balls. He doubted himself. "Maybe I'm just not cut out for this," he muttered once. Ben knelt beside him, looking into his eyes. "I see how hard you're trying. That's enough for me." Lucas pushed himself harder. He listened to the coach, learned from his mistakes, and kept going when others quit early. Each day he grew a little stronger, a little braver. Ben watched, pride growing quietly in his heart. Others only saw the games, the scores, but Ben saw the effort, the early mornings, the blisters, the tears. He saw his son becoming more than a player. Lucas was becoming someone who didn't give up. The season's first game arrived with bright lights and cheering crowds. Lucas's name was called. He would start in right field. His heart raced, palms sweaty. I buttoned Lucas's jersey, straightening the collar, my hands trembling just a little. "You've got this," I whispered. We drove to the field together in silence, nerves thick in the air. I watched Lucas warm up with the team, my heart pounding in my chest. I remembered Lucas as a little boy, chasing fireflies in the yard. Now, he was here, ready to face the world. The stands filled quickly. I sat in the front row, clutching a faded cap. Every time Lucas looked up, he saw my steady gaze. It was all he needed. The game began and Lucas took his place in the field, shoulders squared. The innings passed slowly. Lucas made solid plays, but the game was close. In the final inning, the score was tied. The crowd held its breath. My heart ached with hope and fear. With 2 outs, the coach called Lucas's name. He would bat with the game on the line. Lucas gripped the bat, his mind a blur of nerves and hope. I stood, unable to sit, every muscle tense with love and worry. The first pitch came fast. Lucas swung and missed. The second pitch was low, and he let it go. The third pitch, he swung, connecting with a sharp crack. The ball soared, arcing into the outfield. Lucas ran, feet pounding, breath burning in his chest. The crowd erupted as he slid into second base safe. The winning run crossed home plate. Lucas's teammates rushed him, cheering. I felt my knees go weak. Tears blurred my vision. I had never felt so proud, so full of joy. Lucas looked up, searching the stands, finding my face. In that instant, everything else faded away. The doubts, the failures, the long nights. All that mattered was this moment. Lucas had done it. I hurried onto the field as the crowd dispersed. I found Lucas among his teammates, laughter and cheers ringing in the air. Lucas turned, running into my arms. I held him tight, not caring who saw. My heart felt too big for words. "I'm so proud of you," I whispered, my voice thick with emotion. "Not because you won, because you never gave up." Lucas looked up, eyes shining. "I wanted to make you proud, Dad." I shook my head gently. "You always have, you just didn't know it." For a moment we stood in the center of the field, father and son wrapped in each other's arms. The stadium lights shone down, making our shadows stretch long across the grass. I realized pride was not about victories. It was about effort, about heart. Lucas had taught me that. And in that crowded, noisy field, I felt my love for my son stronger than ever. Later, as the night grew quiet, Lucas and I walked home together. The stars winked above, the sidewalk cool beneath our feet. Lucas spoke softly, "Thanks for believing in me." I squeezed my son's hand, my own voice gentle. "Thank you for teaching me what it means to try." At home, we sat on the porch, sharing a blanket, sipping cocoa. We didn't need many words. Our closeness was in the quiet, in the way we leaned toward each other, in the comfortable silence. We watched the sky, hearts full. In that moment, I knew this was the memory I would keep forever. Not the game, not the win, but the feeling of pride, of love, of knowing that together we could face anything. The father and son sat side by side, the future bright before them.